What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be exploring Canyonlands National Park in Moab, Utah. I'm going to share with you my top 10 hikes and places to visit in Canyonlands. But real quick, if you could give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. But let's dive right in. First up is going to be Mesa Arch, and this is one of my favorite trails in Canyonlands, and this is also likely the most popular trail in the entire national park. This hike is 0.7 miles with 88 feet of elevation gain round trip. It's a short and easy, beautiful trail. This is, like I said, probably going to be the busiest place in all of Canyonlands, which is for good reason. You know, the hike is beautiful, the destination is incredible. It's probably what most people are going to Canyonlands for. At sunrise, the sun rises right through the middle of the arch with the La Salle Mountains in the background, and it is just so beautiful, and with the canyon below. But at sunrise, if you're gonna hike it at that time, be ready to touch shoulders with thousands of photographers, because it does get a little bit ridiculous. This is a kind of bucket list photograph that a lot of people like to get. And also, I would budget for a few extra minutes because parking is probably going to take you a second. Next up at number 2 is going to be Viewpoint Overlook. This is the furthest south that you can go in the islands in the Sky District of Canyonlands. Now, the Viewpoint is right at the parking lot, so within a few feet of walking, you're going to have amazing views in every single direction. But if you would like to hike to the very tip of the mesa overlooking the canyon, it's going to be 1.8 miles round trip with 160 feet of elevation gain. And also, 99% of the people hang out at the parking lot viewpoint, so if you want to get away from the crowds, this is a great option. At number 3, we have Shafer Canyon Overlook and Shafer Trail Viewpoint. Both of these are on the side of the road. They're within a half mile of each other, and each of them you're only going to be walking a few hundred feet to the viewpoints. Both of them are amazing and give you different vantage points of the Shafer Trail Road, which I'll be going over later in this video. But both of these overlooks are really awesome, and the Shafer Trail Road itself is one of the coolest roads I've ever seen, and both of these viewpoints give you spectacular views of the road itself and the canyon surrounding. At number 4, we have Upheaval Dome, and this is a 1.3 mile hike with 226 feet of elevation gain. This is at the very western tip of the island in the Sky District. Now, if you don't want to hike the entire thing, you can just hike to the first overlook. If you're going to do it, I would recommend doing the whole thing, but there is an option if you don't want to hike this entire way. So Upheaval Dome itself is a geological structure that has been interpreted in a few different ways over the years, but one of those is a meteorite impact structure or a salt dome. It's a very unique rock formation and geological landmark. It's probably the most unique hike in the entire park because it's giving you views that are a little bit different from, you know, the arches or the sweeping canyon views. So I think most geologists believe in the impact crater theory, which is what caused Upheaval Dome. So the theory is that about 60 million years ago, a meteorite that has the diameter of about 1/3 of a mile of space hit Canyonlands, which is now what is Upheaval Dome. But who knows, it's worth checking out. It's a really cool and unique place to visit. Next up is going to be Druid Arch, which is a hike that I don't think gets enough credit. I didn't do this hike until my 6th or 7th visit to Moab. The first few times because I never heard of it, and then the other times was because it's a little bit far from Moab. It's closer to Monticello, so it's quite the day's outing, and not to mention the hike itself is long and takes a while, but the reason for the long drive is because Druid Arch is in the Needles district of Canyonlands, which is not the more frequently visited island in the Sky District that I've been talking about. The drive from Moab to the trailhead is about an hour and a half one way, and then the hike itself is 10.4 miles round trip with 1,614 feet of elevation gain. So it's going to be a huge day trip, or you're going to have to stay somewhere closer to this trailhead, but the arch is 100% worth it. It's very unique, and the hike itself is awesome. At number 6, we have Dead Horse State Park. and this is actually outside of Canyonlands National Park, but it is a 20-minute drive from the Island in the Sky Visitor Center, so it's very worth making the time to stop here. Something worth noting though is you will need to pay for an entrance fee because the National Parks Pass does not work here, but if you do have a Utah State's Park Pass, then it is free. There's not really any hiking trails here. There's one where you can walk the loop, but really you're just driving here to the Viewpoint at the end of the road, and this gives you beautiful views of Canyonlands, Island in the Sky District, the Potash Ponds in the distance, and the La Salle Mountain Range, and this is beautiful all day long, but my favorite time to visit is at sunrise. Next up at number 7 is going to be Whale Rock, and this is 0.8 miles round trip with 131 feet of elevation gain. You can see Whale Rock from the parking lot or just driving past it to the Upheaval Dome trailhead. So if you want to just have a quick stop, you can see it from a distance, but I personally would recommend hiking out. There's a lot of places in Canyonlands that are just viewpoints where you pretty much just park and enjoy the view, but Whale Rock is unique because you actually get to scramble and climb around on some beautiful smooth sandstone rock, making it a very fun stop. Kids will probably love it, and it's really fun just to climb around. At number 8 is going to be Candlestick Tower Overlook, and this is just a roadside stop, probably a 1/10 of a mile hike if you want to go to the edge of the viewpoint. It's a beautiful standalone rock formation in the distance, makes for some great photos, and this is cool because this gives you a vast view of the western side of Canyonlands overlooking the maze. At number 9 is going to be the Shafer Trail Off-Road Drive, and this is 19.6 miles with 3,100 feet of elevation gain, and this connects Moab to Canyonlands via the Shafer Trail, and you're going to be passing Potash Ponds, you're going to be passing the lower side of Dead Horse State Park, so it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful drive. However, you are going to need 4-wheel drive or at least all-wheel drive with some high clearance. This is probably the most unique way to drive from Moab to Canyonlands. This isn't something I think anyone really hikes. It is on all trails, so if you want to see the map, you can. I wouldn't hike this personally. This would just be a fun off-road outing. When I stopped at the Shafer Canyon overlooks that I mentioned earlier, I noticed that most people were driving up at this point, so it seems like most people start in Moab, drive to Canyonlands, and then return on the highway back to Moab. I have never driven the part that's actually in Canyonlands National Park. I have only driven a few miles starting on the side that leaves from Moab. And this is actually really cool. You get to drive along the river, which has beautiful views and some awesome arches to stop by. And then you drive right past the Potash Ponds, which is one of the most unique things I've seen in Utah. And then you continue driving through the canyons where you'll connect to Canyonlands. And actually a lot of this drive is outside of the national park and any wilderness areas. So you can fly the drone. It's awesome for aerial photography. And this is a beautiful full day outing. At number 10, we have Chesler Park Loop, and this is going to be back in the Needles district of Canyonlands, and this is a 10.4 mile hike with 1,820 feet of elevation gain. The beginning of this trail actually is the same trail for Druid Arch, so you're going to be at the same trailhead, but you're going to veer west onto the Chesler Park Loop for the majority of the hike after you start on the Druid Arch trail. You'll be hiking through beautiful rock formations and some slot canyons, and this is also a lesser traffic area of Canyonlands, so it should be a pretty quiet trail. The last thing I want to make note of is something called Horseshoe Canyon, and this is in an area I have never seen really any photos of, and it seems like quite the mission to get out there. You continue down I-70 and not turning onto Moab, and then it looks like you off-road to it. I don't have a vehicle that can get here, but if you do, this looks really awesome, so it's worth checking out. I'll just show a quick screenshot of the map. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Again, if you did, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. And anyways, I will see you guys later.